next up, we've got Henrietta Thompson. Henrietta is the editor-at-large at Wallpaper, as many of you know, and she is a contributing editor to various other publications as well, and does amazing work throughout the industry. And today we are actually looking at her new venture, which is called HARTH, and it's a interior design platform which is recently launched with her husband and business partner Ed, and it's revolutionizing the interiors industry, and it's offering a new wave of availability for amazing interior pieces. And I would like to welcome her to the stage to look at the area of consumerism and what the future holds in that field.
There we go. That's our logo. So thank you, Roddy, for that lovely introduction. As he said, my background is as a journalist and a writer and editor. I've been working in design forever, and I write about design and art and also the future and trends, particularly sort of innovation, what's happening. And I've been doing that for various publications, whether that's Wallpaper magazine or The Telegraph or British Airways in-flight magazines, which is a kind of very broad education for me into what's going on in these fields. And it was a couple of years ago now where actually I had this idea for a new venture, and it was one of those ideas where you know, I'm sure everybody has ideas all the time for things, and you think, oh, you know, someone will do it, or I'll do it one day. And this was one of those ideas where you just think, I can't not do this. It's too important. Certainly too important to me. So HARTH was born. It took a little while to sort of formulate, but essentially, what it is a platform, a sharing platform for art, design, sculpture, and interiors items, whereby we hope that it will actually change the way people furnish their spaces. So just a little bit about how it works before I go into the why. It's a platform like most sharing platforms that you will already be familiar with, where you can set up a profile and you can browse items and you can rent for any amount of time objects and art directly from the brands, from the artists, from the dealers, and also from each other. So if you have something that you might otherwise have in storage because you don't need it right now, it doesn't fit into your life right now, rather than paying for storage for it, you can actually lend it out to another HARTH member. Like with other sharing platforms, the whole thing is completely transparent so that you can see at any point who you're dealing with. You can see if they have a good reputation for looking after things. And you can also see where the objects or artworks and so on that you're looking at, where they've been before. So the things start to tell stories and develop a life of their own, which we really hope will change this idea of renting things, in that I think traditionally when you rent an item, the idea is that, you know, things will depreciate as the more they get used, whereas we're hoping that it might be the other way around, and the more that something is used and you can see where it's been, you can see its life, it can actually add to its value. It's a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of editorial from my past life, or current life, whichever. You carry on doing everything. So that's kind of an overview as to how HARTH works. And it's, you know, it's really a place for antiques and storied items, as well as box fresh, brand new things too. So going back to the why, I guess originally it was quite a it was an idea that came to me because I needed it personally. So my husband and I had moved around a lot, and as we were in a period of our lives when we moved in together, got married, had a baby, all of this stuff, and then each time you move, you have a different set of requirements for your space. Furniture never looks quite the same in a new place, and so we always had things in storage, always moving things in and out of parents' houses, other flats, garages, storage units, and it just seemed like there must be a better way. Meanwhile, through my work as a design writer, I had been every other designer that I spoke to, every other brand that I spoke to, they almost seemed conflicted about putting more things into this world where we already had so many chairs, we've already got so many lovely things that, do we really need any more? But yes, of course we need more, because we want to be inspired. We always need more innovation. We always need more joy and beauty in design. And so the solution to that always seemed to be to make things maybe modular, or make objects that you would want to keep forever. But actually, people still want to change their things. You might have something that grows with you, and that you you appreciate more over time. I love this idea, but actually the truth of it is that we are in a consumer society. We're always going to be consuming more things. Meanwhile, writing about all of these themes, the end of ownership, this idea that people are no longer so obsessed with owning things. They want the experience. It's much more about living something rather than owning it. And so therefore, we are starting to rent things in all different other industries, whether it's jewelry or fashion or our houses or our cars or whatever it is. But it just hasn't really happened in design yet. It hasn't happened in interiors. Generation rent, that's a kind of a twofold issue. Generation rent, you think of largely in terms of homes. New generation are struggling to get on the property ladder. That means that more and more we're actually buying more furniture because we're moving around more, weirdly. We want to make it able to, you're renting things, but renting the things you want. Stuffication is, I love this term, and it's an amazing book by James Wallman, who, and it's really all about this idea that, we have too much stuff, even though, and I think everyone can relate to that, whether you have stuff in storage, or whether you just, the life-changing magic of tidying, I think, is another book that speaks to this same thing. We have too much stuff, it's overwhelming, we really want a little bit of freedom from that. It's not about, the problems that we have is not about not having too much, not having enough stuff, but not having the right things at the right time. As I said, at the end of ownership, it's the same experience as everything. We're not so willing to compromise with our spaces anymore. We want to be surrounded by beautiful things. We're used to being in amazing cafes and restaurants and hotels. We're surrounded by media showing incredible design spaces, and we want that. But we want it in a way that we can live it and change it. The circular economy, I'm sure, is something you're all very familiar with as well, and this is really what we're trying to bring to the world of interiors. I can go on about all of these things for a really long time, so I'm gonna sort of stop there. What we're really trying to do with Hearth is make anything possible, make compromise a thing of the past. Compromise is something I haven't really spoken about yet, but the idea that a lot of people make huge compromises through their interiors without even really realizing it. It's why with say sofas or any kind of interior items, that the trend seems to be towards neutral, classic. We're much more likely to buy grey and beige and neutral colors than necessarily the kind of crazy things that, if you think you're going to have something forever, you feel like you have to really rein in your creativity. And also, the idea that the opposite side of that is when you're living with something temporarily, you can go completely crazy. You know, you can try something, see if you like it. If you don't, move on. If you do, keep it, and just adapt and have that kind of flexibility. So it's something really, really exciting. Everybody so far that we've kind of been engaging with has really reacted very positively to it. We are in beta mode at the moment, and so we have a catalogue growing numbers, thousands of items, and we're looking to launch the full platform in a couple of months' time. So it's all very new, very exciting, and thank you for letting me tell you about it. Okay.
Thank you, Henrietta. That was really, really interesting. As I said before, you are literally changing the way that people furnish their spaces. And I think a term or a phrase that I've heard you use a lot is playing with space. Can you maybe just expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think that's really about being more creative. And hypothetically, when you think about it in terms of Hearth, so you're able to change what's in your space as often as you like. That means that hypothetically you could have your entire house gold and red for Christmas, or pink and fluffy for the weekend, or if it's a seasonal thing you wanted to. I think, you know, one of the requests we've had a lot for already this summer has been for garden furniture, and so far so traditional. You know, it's summer, you want some garden furniture, but actually, if you've only got it for the summer, why not have 5 swings instead of you know, your classic bistro.
Absolutely, yeah.
table,
Turn it into a playground.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So no, I mean it's really interesting, and I know you touched on it, but the term generation rent, we obviously are very used to this term now, but more in relation to property. How is this now going to apply to obviously furniture and art, but also the design world in general? Is this going to change things, do you think?
Yes, I think so. I think we're slowly becoming much more accustomed to this idea of renting, or, you know, temporarily owning things, as opposed to having to have something forever. And it really resonated with me actually hearing about a jewelry company that's doing very similar to what we're doing, but with jewelry. And it already seems crazy that we have to own everything we buy, especially when, you know, when it's fashion and the things that we express ourselves with. So fashion and jewelry and interior design, and all of the sort of the things that we surround ourselves with, we also use as an expression of who we are. And yet more and more who we are changes, you know, whether through different parts of our lives as we move around more, or you know, our jobs change or our lives change. We want to express different sides of our personalities, or we almost become different, not different people, but if you think of jobs you've had in the past, and you are a sort of slightly different personality.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, you mean
you have different tastes. Your tastes change.
You change over time, for sure. But the really interesting point of Hearth is that it is a completely sustainable solution, in terms that it creates this. We've got this, obviously, this huge issue of overproduction and mass production and things like that. But this is solving that, and obviously the aim is to kind of this circular economy where we just keep reusing it, which is how do you see that panning out? I mean, it's a difficult task to kind of go about solving, isn't it?
Well, it's something that really excites me, because through my career, I've written about sustainability and design a lot, and it's not so long ago that sustainability used to be equated with paring back, having less, using less, everything being much more kind of austere, and really trying to rein in consumerism. And you know, the fact is that was not much fun at the same time. Actually, with design and with technology and with the sharing economy and circular economy, we're actually able to have much more of everything, and that's really exciting. So you can try different things. You can it's just about releasing that idea of ownership, and you can suddenly have more. You can play around more. It's pro-creative. No, it's pro-creativity. It's and it's really exciting.
Oh, absolutely.
And still be sustainable at the same time. Yeah.
And it opens up so many options for interior designers and stylists and things like that. I mean, it's such a brilliant idea. How do you think it will affect in terms of product and furniture design, and obviously this method of renting furniture and things like that? How will it affect the designers themselves?
Well, we're excited to see that. I mean, first things first is we have to build it and establish it and hope that people will use it. I have my own sort of personal over-ambitious ideas that that actually the more people do start playing around with their space, the more freedom designers will have also to produce designs that are not necessarily commercial in that traditional sense. You know, they can be a bit more playful. And
maybe not so practical.
Maybe not so practical, because practicality is something that goes out of the window, really. If you've only got something temporarily, you can choose to be a lot less practical in a way. And yeah, so that idea of being able to have more fun with designs. Also, I've forgotten what I was going to say. I'll come back to it.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, because I think, as you say, I think it will maybe push designers themselves into this new sort of area, that pieces for the home don't have to be what we've been used to for so many years. We can now make a huge statement in the house. We can maybe furnish it in a way that is more used to sort of a commercial space maybe, or a gallery. And we know that it's only temporary. So it's amazing the work that you're doing, and we're really excited to see what the future holds.
Thank you. The other thing I was going to say, so just remembered, was that the other way that it may impact design is to allow designs to tell stories more. So designs that will show you where they've been before somehow, either through their patina or through technology. There's lots of advantages to that too. So thank you.
That's really exciting. And just one more question is, with the stories, obviously you will see pieces of furniture going throughout many locations. Will you be recording the stories of the piece in sort of specific pieces and things?
We will be, yeah. So you'll be able to see that through the platform. So each piece will have its own sort of history, if you like. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We are very excited, and once again, thank you very much for coming today. It's been an amazing talk, so thank you very much.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell you all about it.
No problem. Thank you.